What was that?
Perfect. You want to be that guy?
Good morning, DCTV. It is fucking Friday, aka Conspiracy Friday, aka what in the world are we doing? What a time to be alive, everybody. I just have to say, it is absolutely insane what's going on with FTX, and we're going to get into some of the crazy shit that's coming to light after the former CEO of Enron that covered that bankruptcy stated that this one is even worse than that, and in fact, the worst one he's seen in 40 years. So we're going to be talking about that, as well as some Twitter drama. Elon is going absolutely nuts, shutting down buildings and everything else. So we're going to get into all of that. Before we do, let me welcome everybody to the show. Jaime's got his tinfoil hat on. He's very well prepared for what's about to transpire this morning. We got Coach Don from the Don Front Show, and as well as the Thing, aka the real data lord, aka Brandon. What's up, guys?
You know, there's monsters out there. You know,
I wish I had my tinfoil hat. I literally just threw them away.
I just ran to the kitchen.
Have you seen? So I had my YouTube video. YouTube. All this started. I had some drone videos. Then I made one talking about the Earth being flat. Like I didn't think it was, but my buddy was. So I made some Spartan tinfoil hats. Like came down across your face and everything. And I literally just threw them away to the sitting in my garage forever.
I can tell you for a matter of fact that aluminum foil really does Faraday cage. Like you really can block Wi-Fi signals and stuff with it.
Of course you can.
Yeah,
I'm saying it ain't just crazy. It really is a thing.
Is that from a ghillie suit, Brandon?
No, dude, it's my freaking hair. What do you mean?
Is that your rocker, 80s rocker? I love it.
That's from role
He's
playing.
bald in the back. He just
I was at Dead Mouse and I had like a full leather outfit, like a full straight up white snake. Yeah.
No, I feel like
love
I
it.
do that.
My wife was Pikachu. So
all right,
Do the birds see me if I'm wearing tinfoil?
I ran into the kitchen. My wife's like, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, "I'll explain later. I'll be back."
no time to explain. Get in.
Oh my God, guys! Let us know where you're watching from. Looking at the markets, S&P right now is up nearly 1%. The Dow's up over 0.5%, 229 points. The Nasdaq's also up 1%. Everything is doing well, including including Bitcoin. I was just like, maybe make sure because every time I say it's like last minute, there's a dump. But Bitcoin's up 304 points. It's at $16,785.67. Jaime, I actually wanted to talk to you about this a little bit, and we'll get into our WTF news that Tampa is going to be bringing here in just a few moments. But Jaime, yeah, with everything that's come to light as far as the FTX debacle and some of the other contagion that we're seeing, bankruptcies from Gemini, not yet, but Gemini's in trouble, Genesis is in trouble, and there's more dominoes to fall, right? But Bitcoin's actually been pretty resilient up to this point. You would expect there to be a lot more panic selling, but it's not right now. And I just kind of want to get your thoughts and maybe some of the thoughts of everybody else on the panel.
Sure.
What they think about that.
So this is where the general market has to understand the difference between Bitcoin and the rest of the market. So the rest of the Bitcoin itself is a protocol for transfer of value, and store of value is the way people are using it today. So none of that is involved in this as an industry. Everyone points to Bitcoin. If you notice, anytime they speak of FTX or any of these situations, they'll put a Bitcoin symbol somewhere. But that's the market perception. But in reality, Bitcoin itself is not impacted by this. As a matter of fact, FTX barely had any Bitcoin in their coffers. So it
didn't have any
problem. None.
No, they had
none.
like 1 point something. It was like Tampa's like, I got more than they do.
I got more Bitcoin than FTX, bitches.
That's right.
Love that.
one. So
never thought I'd be able to say that.
Well, but that shows you the problem that's occurring. Everything, not Bitcoin, is involved in this whole thing. The problem that they're packaging it on, the way they're doing it, and that's why I'm wearing my tin hat, is they're trying to target the entire industry. And Ethereum, having moved from proof of work, which is completely decentralized, to proof of stake, now has a centralization aspect to it. So anyone building on the Ethereum platform according to Gensler, now is at risk of being a security because you're now centralizing value on the Ethereum blockchain to produce outcome, to produce revenue, to produce output. So there's a lot of things coming together. And I feel that the entire industry is being set up. It's almost like, okay, we know we printed into oblivion. We know the world economy is going to shit. Let's wag the dog. Let's grab an industry with a scammer, because the scam occurred between VCs and everyone else. The buyers, the ones that use the customers, should not be paying for this sin. It should be the investors that ran blindly into this and started throwing money in there. JP Morgan, I mean, everybody's getting burned on this one.
Oh yeah.
We're not seeing the end of it. So that's my opinion. And if you look at where Bitcoin has been, it's exactly what you've mentioned. It is, here we go. If you look at the entire,
Jaime's being so serious right now. I just can't get over the tinfoil hat. But continue.
Right, it's like a dad hat too.
People that are just tuning in right now are probably like, "What the fuck is this?"
Exactly. Everybody who doesn't understand the difference between
Bitcoin.
everybody who does not understand the difference between Bitcoin and DeFi is where all the problems are right now. They got rid of their Bitcoin at the start of this bear market and the collapse of your FTXs or your ventures, 3ACs, all that kind of stuff. They got out at that point. So you don't see a lot of fall on Bitcoin right now, other than what's been predicted in this bear market, because all the people who don't understand are gone.
Yeah, I mean, there's people who see it as get rich quick, and those guys are fair weather fans, right?
Mhm.
But people who actually understand like the value proposition of truly decentralized proof of work as a store of value, and it's been rocking and rolling since 2009. So
absolutely, and it shows in the market. In Bitcoins, if you look at the entire chart, it's pretty predictable, not too precisely, but overall on the timing of the bear markets, on the timing of the bull markets, it follows this median and S-curve growth S-curve quite well. And we're currently very close to the bottom. It doesn't mean we can't break this and then come back up, but it's pretty much on schedule. Show me a chart and I'll tell you the news. Is literally, we've been calling for this drop. And the big question was, well, how will it drop? And now all of a sudden, now we have this entire scam going on here's the kick in the nuts to this all. The industry is amazing. What's being built is amazing. It's the next iteration of the internet. And yet you have a scammer coming in and scamming from banking, raising funds and all this stuff, people not doing their due diligence and then getting rug pulled. And yet, where's the blame going? To the crypto industry. I knew it was a Ponzi scheme. And that's the problem we're seeing today.
it's ICO 2.0, yawn fest.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All of us that have been in this for a while can see it coming. And we just don't know how the domino is going to fall, but goddamn, this is a good domino we're looking at.
It's a heck of one. Just stay calm. Just dollar cost average. Understand Bitcoin. Once you get a grasp on Bitcoin, there's a reason we say start there. Then you can start to dabble in the DeFi world of cryptocurrency, but you better understand the risks. So just keep doing what we keep preaching about. That's all you got to do.
Absolutely.
It's all based on principles. Like none of the stuff we're saying is because we get kickback. None of the stuff we're saying is because we think it's a novel idea. It's tried, true, and proven. It's just like a good system.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The whole space has value because of these principles. And if you don't follow them, you're not. It's like, hey man, I have a super awesome house. It's got an awesome security system, but I don't lock my doors. It's like, well, I can't help you there, bud.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I actually am surprised at how much this has nothing to do with crypto. Like when you look at this whole FTX scam,
Zero.
It's literally a financial Ponzi scheme badged as crypto. Like the amount of crypto they own was so negligible. The fake shit they said they had was just nothing. So it never mattered in the first place. But the amount of money they took from other investors and the amount of real money they took from people, badge it as something crypto, just take advantage of hype maybe.
Exactly. And that's
It's
exactly
mind-blowing.
what we talked about. Like, do not get confused that a centralized exchange that sells cryptocurrency asset in fact represents DeFi and especially Bitcoin, because it does not. They are not the same. They just look the same. And to those that don't understand, they, understandably think it has something to do. One has something to do with the other. These
Yeah.
do not.
Our, sorry, Jaime, our fearless leader, aka Peter Saddington, actually ended up putting this up this morning as well on Twitter. So make sure you go follow him at Agile Peter. He said the FTX situation stems from old-fashioned financial fraud rather than a blockchain or cryptocurrencies or crypto-specific failure. In many ways, it's similar to Enron. Both relied on role of public traded assets linked to the performance of the firms themselves. And I would say that it's probably more so of a Bernie Madoff situation than Enron, even though they're pretty similar, just based off of, Bernie ended up taking people's money and putting it in a bank rather than investing it, and just paid out whatever new money came in until eventually became insolvent himself. The stories and the parallels to that is very, very similar to what happened with SBF.
Yeah, and the terrible thing is they were able to recover quite a bit from Bernie's stuff. Here, all the investors are going to
Gone.
zero, like
Right.
gone.
Yeah.
Gone. And then when you look at what transpired and the gambling that occurred by going to Alameda and everything else, everybody's going to lose out on this one. And I do want to back it out a little more. Look at the narrative that's coming out of this. And that's where my conspiracy hat comes in, is SBF himself, the head of this whole Ponzi scheme, helped start building the framework for Congress to pass on cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
It's almost like a big setup to be like, see, guys, this is a scammy industry. There's nothing good coming out of this. And thus we have to shove this regulation all the way through,
Yeah, we're gonna get into that. It is Conspiracy Friday. That's why Jaime is already so excited to get into the conspiracy bullshit. That's why he's got his tinfoil hat on. So make sure you're staying tuned to that. I mean, we have so much going on. Elon Musk is shutting the doors over at Twitter. There's naked people in pools over at the FTX space. There's sex scandals. There's so much to talk about, guys. So make sure you're tuning in. Make sure you also go follow us over at TV Decentralized on Twitter. Hit that like button, and we're going to get into the WTF news of the day, hosted by the one and only Coach Tan.
And this is heavy too. I will. We have to thank Greg for this. Our own Greg. Yeah, Greg Chick got me this one, but this is real, guys. Check this out. I would love to know in the comments. Tell me, would you or would you not participate in the Human Meat Project?
No.
People for people.
This
is 100% true. You can donate your body to cannibalism, where one body can be 40
roadkill or died of old age. Like,
well, you can explain why you want to donate, and then you can talk about what type of body you would like to eat. What race, what age,
CNN's all over this, man.
What race? Like, that seems a little bit weird. Like, are they expecting me? Because there's so many lines that are about to get crossed just with that in general. But
I think Thai and Latin are too spicy for some people,
Yeah.
So check this out.
Oh my God.
You can register your choices. Okay. So I want to donate for human consumption, or that, you want to consume. There's all this stuff that you have to go through. This is all about you.
This is crazy.
Where was it? I was looking at this and I felt so weird. Okay, here we go. Here's our donors by age, by country, by gender, or by race. Which one do y'all want to?
Jeffrey Dahmer's over here, like.
Yeah, let's just
go by
our
age.
donors.
I was gonna say, age.
Who's
the youngest? Who's the youngest person we're eating?
You want
Who's
some
the
ribs?
Who's the
These
oldest
were
person?
harvested in June, right here. Ingredients:
back?
100% human meat.
What the?
He was
fuck?
lightly active lifestyle.
White Netherlands.
Oh, so he's probably nice and
37
marbleized.
Yeah, if it's American, it's
arm.
really marbleized.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
too
yeah.
much on the. Yeah.
Wait.
It's not wild. Look at this.
He was lean.
Ecuador. I
He
used to
works
live
out.
there. damn, 49-year-old female,
Oh, she's a
overweight.
vegetarian? No, you don't want that one.
That's
No,
super
no.
ironic. A vegetarian selling her meat to someone.
Right.
Well,
Weird.
vegetarian.
Well,
You
no,
can-
she went for the cause. She went all the way there. Like, if you
Yeah.
want meat, just eat me. Don't kill the animals. But
Yeah.
these people are a very average age. Why are they dying? Does it say?
I don't
This
know.
is
I
crazy.
don't know. But look at this, man.
There's
It's
no
got
way this is real.
times. No,
No
it's
way.
real. I
Just
like
go
I was
by age.
checking this out. Like, I mean,
What
it.
the
Let's see who
hell?
can donate.
I mean,
You have a meat donor
arguably,
card.
it's not criminal in most countries because it's consenting, but that's
Yeah.
still nasty.
Any
What are
healthy, which is objective, living human can donate their body for consumption regardless of age. They'll be medically evaluated to avoid the spread of disease. If a disease is detected, the applicant will be rejected. You have a living donation, I guess so. Look at
Oh,
this,
just
man. Isn't this
donate it all.
wild?
Oh my God.
You want to live?
You gotta
can
be
harvest.
fucking kidding me.
How much?
What?
See,
the
this is like the
hell?
dehumanization, though, that is being
Yeah.
pushed by a lot of globalist stuff. Like, if we're going to talk about tinfoil hat, and it's not really that tinfoil, it's pretty open. There's some
Damn.
people who really don't want to see humans valued. They want to see humans seen as like product. So
Yeah.
bro. And
Isn't this
Jesus
wild?
Christ.
So
And
you
if
can
you're not-
actually do this by race.
that's
and
a
if
Lord
you're in
have
a
mercy
financial
moment. Yeah.
bind, you know, in a poor country, and you die, you're like, fuck, let me raise some money for my family and take this body I'm not going to use anymore. But-
Go
Isn't
to
this
age.
wild?
Go to
Couldn't you
age.
get
I
more
really wanna
money
see,
for, like,
what's
science?
the
I don't know.
youngest? And also, this is serious.
Well, it
Can
said
you
there's no age requirement. So I'm assuming that if you want baby back ribs, you can get them.
No,
Jesus
he was
Christ.
Way
asking
back to
who's
the
the
bottom of
youngest
them.
donor. There was
Yeah.
one younger than this right here. The Asian chick we just saw was 29.
So it doesn't say how they died, though. Or
I
are they
don't-
dead? They just donated the bottom couple
don't
ribs
know.
because they got a
It's-
little Marilyn Manson
It's
accent?
literally the website is Human Meat Project, all one word, humanmeatproject.com. I mean, go
We're not
see
advertising
yourself.
it, by the way. We're
No.
No,
shaming
no,
it.
guys.
Shame,
this
shame,
is-
shame, shame,
yeah,
shame.
Oh, hold
this
on.
is a
hold
what
on.
the fuck,
I'm curious who
guys.
these models are. I'm looking at these pictures because are these like just
I don't
stock
know.
images? Did they take pictures? What was she on that previous? She was laying down on the table and she was smiling way too much. She's either not, she's happy she's about to just chop her leg off and donate it, or that's a picture because she's getting her eyebrows done or something.
I
And,
don't
like,
know.
Wow.
I'm just
You'd-
saying people can go to the website. I'm not,
In
advocating it. I'm just saying you can go to the website and look yourself. We're not going to look at every last thing on this.
Colton,
So if
you're a
somebody
sick.
wants
sick
Indo
dude,
Crypto, go
Colton.
on here
So
and
gross.
find some little piece of information and let us know halfway through
Yeah.
the stream. He'll be like, wait, go back to the Meat for the People thing. I found something.
Damn.
Is it
And now,
expensive? What were the
I
prices?
don't know.
and here's the thing. Here's the scary part. Now the mob has a way to get rid of bodies. You know, like, hey, here's one. We
Yeah.
just got rid of it. Slice
Used
Yeah,
to
it
be
up.
we
bad.
feed pig farms. Now we can just feed other people, make cash off it. Like,
That'd
what
be a
the-
bad way to do it though, because the FBI's getting on it real quick. Like,
What if they're
let
in
me
on it?
grab that guy real quick, just a tiny piece of meat. Doesn't matter. We're just gonna check the DNA.
That's
So,
right.
I don't want to. I'm gonna burst everybody's bubble right now.
What's
The
up?
fake.
I just googled it. It says this is purely a conceptual art project and will not be acted out in real life.
What I can
Oh,
tell you
my
is
God.
even beyond that, CNN for real. They had what's the guy's name? Reza Aslan. He actually went to a cannibal tribe and they had him on TV eat human brains, and they defended it like it's not a big deal. Like Tim Pool
Well-
had to bring it up and it's like, dude, this is nuts. Like, you crossed that line. Once you've crossed that cannibal line, like, you're a cannibal. And it's like, well, no, I
Yeah,
only
but-
did it once. It's like, well, if you
And-
murdered someone once, are you a murderer? Well, I only did it once. Yeah, you're
But
still a
wait,
murderer,
it
dude. Like,
depends on the reason, does it not? I mean, like, what was the movie that came out where there was a team that they were in an airplane, the airplane crashed, and then there were some survivors, but they're in this Arctic remote middle of nowhere. And it was either we all sit here and die or we eat those that perished in the crash.
don't eat me, bro.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, at what point is it acceptable because you only did it to save your lives or
You
the lives
know.
of others versus I was just at a restaurant and some,
You get to discuss that in your prayer life, my friends.
And-
That's
and by
what
the
you
way-
gotta do.
Yeah.
And by the way,
Alive.
Cam,
That's
that
the
was
name of the
the-
movie.
Yes,
Alive.
and it's an actual occurrence. It was the soccer team going from Argentina to Chile, and
Yeah.
the plane crashed in the Andes Mountains.
Right. There it
So,
is.
Yeah,
And there was nothing else there. They were going to
Correct.
die before rescuers got to them
correct.
unless So they like started with a guy's like butt, basically. Like, you know,
Yes.
like they started with his butt because they made fire and they ate it because otherwise they were screwed.
I think I'm
Yeah.
going for a different part. Like
And-
Well,
that's,
it's a roast, man. I mean,
I don't care. I don't even eat that.
And here's the other
the
thing
leg or
people
the
are,
arm.
yeah. And no, in their case, they were slicing off and then just eating it to survive. And they made it. They actually
would you do
survived.
it if it was
If-
life or death, Brandon? Like there is no other.
Well, I got
way it
enough
is
weight
life
on
or
my
death.
body. I'm good.
I'm doing it. I'm doing
Yeah,
it. If it's true
same
life
here.
or death.
And-
See,
Yes.
that's the
Yeah, why
reason you
wouldn't
got to
you?
hold a 30% body fat, because then as a
No, man, you're
you
gonna
got some
die too.
runway.
Yeah, and when they interviewed the people, because I lived in Chile for 7 years and traveled to Argentina all the time, and this is a known thing down there that occurred. And
Yeah.
when you speak to the people when they interviewed them, they all had like remorse. They even cried when they were doing it, but they knew if they did not eat, they would die. Like there was
Yeah.
no recourse.
There's no
for
in
them.
between. There's
Correct.
nothing else. And they're freezing cold. Like it's not just, oh, I'm in this tropical, beautiful island with water and other stuff, other options. They are
Mhm.
literally in like a snow barren middle of nowhere. They don't even know if people know that they're gone yet. They
Right.
were able to make a fire. They're still all freezing.
Mhm.
And if it came down to I'm going to die or I eat this piece of calf from my, you know, from this person over here who's already dead,
Right.
I'm eating it.
Yeah, and some of them for their own conscience, there was snow over it, so all you could see is like the butt cheek, and they were just
Mhm.
slicing as if it were. There's a salted
Rump
meat
roast.
down there called charqui.
Mhm.
Charqui is like horse meat that's salted or preserved,
Like here.
and that's how they were making do, and they survived. I mean, it's a fact that occurred, and if I'm there, like Jason asked, what part? I like pork belly, so maybe it'll be a some of the bacon stuff in there. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the other problem with cannibalism is what's happening with the cattle. Remember in what was it? In the 90s, there I forget the term, the medical term, where they your brain starts turning to a sponge.
Oh
and then
yeah,
you
because
just
they were
start having-
feeding cattle
Yes.
beef, and it was
To
getting
the
everything
cattle.
sick. Yeah,
Yes, and some people got it too.
Yeah.
So that's the problem with cannibalism.
Yeah, what's
too.
it called? Kuru?
That's the real problem with
It's
it.
called Kuru.
Yeah.
is that it's not
AURU.
sustainable.
Every time I do it, I get sick. It's weird. I
Yeah,
don't know.
exactly.
Yeah,
My head swells, you know.
It's
just
like an
can't think of it.
infectious protein that's
Yeah.
found in contaminated human brain tissue.
Yep.
To answer the what part though, I'm thinking an arm or the calf, and I just think
Yeah.
like drumstick. Like
Yeah.
I'd have to just eat it off
Yep.
the bone.
Yeah. The
Well-
marrow's really good too.
I plead the
There's
fifth.
WTF.
All right,
Yeah.
so
All
yeah,
right, let's
that,
go.
so that was the here. So we that was
Camp,
fake.
that was disturbing, by the
We
way.
do
You missed
get-
Halloween
Thanks,
by like
Greg.
2 weeks, dude. What are you doing?
So yeah, I know. So
Thank you, Greg.
We-
Look up. Thank you.
Rigs in the background. So we'll give you some real news real quick. It's not really necessarily WTF, but what would you do like for I don't know, would you be a Southwest customer forever if you forgot your phone and Southwest actually ended up retrieving it for you and getting it to you before the plane left? Because here's what happens.
Yes.
This is what happened. Like the pilot reached out of the cockpit to grab a passenger's phone and give it back to him. That is quite the service there from
Because
Southwest.
they can't open the door. They open. The
I
door.
know, but that's pretty incredible.
Why can't they open the door? Just locked, sealed shut.
It's FTA stuff. Yeah. Once it
Yeah.
leaves and that door's
Yeah,
locked,
Oh,
you
yeah.
can't,
You ever
can't
heard of
open it again.
regulation,
Yet
man?
somehow you
It's
can
the
open up the
destination.
cockpit window. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
but-
You can only
Hey.
fit a little bit of C4 through that window, not just not to blow it to absolute smithereens.
That's right. That's right. All right. So moving on, guys. Thanks so much for putting up with our WTF of the day. We're gonna get into the meat and potatoes now. All right. The
Yeah,
FTX
pun
debacle.
The not human meat, too.
Yes,
clearly.
not human being. Conspiracies. It's Conspiracy Friday. We're going to continue on with these topics, but and FTX and all the crazy shit that's been going on there. But before we get into any of that, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. The link is in the description below for our Discord group. It's absolutely free. You want to continue the conversation and talk about human cannibalism? You can go check us out there. It is absolutely free to join our Discord. We'd love to have you guys as a part of the community. For those of you watching over at Don Fran Show as well as Own the Chaos, we also thank you guys for tuning in this morning. You can check out our links as well there. We are our primary streaming platform here is at DCTV or Decentralized TV. You can go check us out on YouTube as well. I will do a better job of making sure that it's in my description, and so will Don. But you can go search us over at Decentralized TV. We'd love to have you guys part of the community there too. All right, so the FTX debacle. So John Ray III, if you guys aren't familiar with that name, he also oversaw the Enron bankruptcy scandal, and he was appointed to take over the FTX bankruptcy scandal. And he was quoted as saying that this was the worst, never in his 40-year career has he seen such a complete failure of corporate controls and such a complete absence of trustworthy information, financial information, as occurred here with FTX. He said that FTX's systems compromised integrity and had a faulty regulatory oversight abroad. He noted concentration of controls in the hands of what he called a, quote, very small group of inexperienced, unsophisticated, and potentially compromised individuals. He called the situation, quote, unprecedented. This is, and getting into the conspiracy part of it, okay? And we've kind of like touched on it here and there since this whole FTX thing happened, but it's just like, what the fuck? Like, there's so many.
Read that last part again.
Which
They're
part?
degens. That's what he said.
The group of people. Let's just
yes. So that's
the description again.
Very good point. So John Ray III described it as a very small group of inexperienced, unsophisticated, and potentially compromised individuals
Sitting next to the Clintons.
Yeah.
sitting next to the Clintons,
Sitting with the
a lot of
current
members
party
of
in power.
Congress.
and Gary Gensler, and like
This
and
sounds like a fall guy. 100%.
Nobody, 100%. Like, nobody saw this. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, Tom Brady, BlackRock, Sequoia, nobody saw this. I call bullshit. Like, somebody saw it and they just swept it under the rug and was like, fuck it, we're making billions of dollars. Who cares? And nobody said a goddamn thing. Like, that is insane. There's just no way.
But here's the deal. People actually said things, but the media sloughed it off because the media is owned by the same people that are behind all this stuff. So those that tried to raise concerns were seen as conspiracy theorists and jealous and whatever else. And the media didn't report on it. To this day, the media is still reporting SBF is this angel renewable guy, that he did so much with all of his charities, and he did so much for green energy and look at all the charities that are hurt by this now. They're still looking at him as a savior because it's the same people that are behind this in the first place.
Well, a lot of charities are money laundering schemes too, though. Like,
no
people
doubt.
don't talk about that, but like, it's an easy front.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw that. I mean, there's word coming out from that as far as FTX's relationship with Ukraine as well.
Right.
Soviet Russia,
Yeah.
Ukraine.
Yeah.
Everyone got punch drunk, happy. That's it. I want to know who the first donor was, who the first investor was, because it was like, hey, this person invested with us, FTX. We're fairly new, and so they did. I think as the name started to stack up, people started to do less and less due diligence.
Correct.
And everyone was like, well, I'm sure they did, so it's got to be good. I want to be a part of the cool kids table, so let me throw in a couple $100 million. Let me do this. And that's it. That's how you get suckers like the football player.
Yeah, Tom Brady was an angel. He was an angel to the tune of $650 million, but Binance was a super early investor too.
Right.
Absolutely.
They're all stupid because the people that did see this coming all said this is raising red flags and didn't. Even I said this, like not that I called this stuff out, but I said these brokers they seem weird because they're giving you what, almost 10% interest. Like, money just doesn't come out of just thin air like that. That all seemed very weird.
Well, it does when you won that many Super Bowls. You understand? I put my money there because he throws his money there and he throws wins.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm glad it made it on TV for everyone to get completely screwed. But
it's a systemic.
It's
a systemic problem, guys, because we're seeing that occurring with a lot of on the fundraising side. For in this case, it's certified investors where we're acting on now. we're seeing a lot of that where they're like, well, who's invested with you now? They're following the same MO. And all you need is one of the big ones to make a mistake and not do their due diligence. And now you have a shit ton of smaller guys like, oh, if this guy's in, I'm in. And you see that it's a systemic issue of no validation. And then guys like, I should have found this investor who tried to do due diligence and said, hey, bring members of the board, create a board, create this, do this, so we can look at you.
Chamath.
Yes.
Chamath, yeah.
Yes. They tell him, go fuck yourself. Literally.
Yeah. See, this is also why the
Verbatim.
stock market needed to pull back. There's too much money in the world. There's so much money. First of all, if you are, there is a separation between rich and poor. And if you are in the markets, you just saw it, and everyone just got rich. So rich that they just started forgetting everything. Like you forget risk management, you forget it all. You just keep going, and then they all got suckered into this same little wormhole. Good news is a bunch of money got donated. So once it's donated, it can never get back. And then now, oops.
Well, that's not exactly true. So you can actually, especially if money was donated to your political party or to your campaign with funds that were unethical, you do have the right and the ability to return those funds. Now that'll be interesting because Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX was the second largest donor to the Democratic Party, and so who's actually going to return those funds? And I'll be interested to see what excuses some of these politicians make up as to why they will not return them, because that's probably going to come down.
Do you know the first was it George Soros? Do you know?
I don't know, but there was a lot of money donated to the Democratic Party and the Biden. I'm fairly certain that it's also the Biden campaign as well.
Campaign,
This isn't bipartisan stuff we're talking about, by the way. Please do not hear this as bipartisan. What we're doing is we're talking about raw facts that are publicly available, and some people in power, no matter what their affiliations are, do some sketchy stuff. You understand?
Yes.
But what politician doesn't?
Right.
That's the point. That's the
shoe on head. Shoe on head does not.
Yeah, we're dunking on politics in general, not a particular party. It just happens to be that it is a fact that the Democratic Party is the one that happened to benefit the most from this particular scandal. It's not the only scandal. It's the Republicans do it too. We understand that. But this is just a fact that this time the Democrats in this particular instance look really, really shady, especially when HRC is involved, which she is.
Yeah.
Dr. Ron Paul's like one of the only ones I've seen that hasn't been a sketch lord, but
they donated to Republicans, which is funny. It was like, did you see the amount though?
Yeah, it was like 200,000 versus 32 million.
Yeah, no,
and they also they also spent 7.2 million on a bet, I'm assuming in Vegas, that Trump would lose in, it was like a Trump will lose token, and they spent 7.2 million literally on a gamble.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it was on the Ray the Third mentioned that they saw that line.
Soros Fund is the number one, so it's Soros and then FTX.
No shit.
See,
there's no way any of that donated money comes back.
No, hell no,
not a dime.
No. This makes about as much sense as the financial accounting of BLM.
And
makes no sense.
That's the biggest. Now backing it all up again, it's like, please look at the handwriting on the wall. They're using, meaning the political system. It's almost as if they created, or whoever created this narrative of this is a scam. This needs regulation. I'll ignore the fact that we printed US dollars into oblivion and affected the rest of the world with inflation and everything else. But we need to bring this industry under control. And with Gary leading the way, saying that everything's security, look at what this means. There's two things that are going to come out of this if we continue following this path. One, everything's going to be a security except for Bitcoin, because that's truly decentralized. And that means that they're going to now, anyone, if it's a security, the common person cannot invest in this. So it now puts the qualified investors as the ones who can fully invest in something like this. So cutting away any common individual that wants to do the research, understands the technology, and wants to invest in it. It does not make it as easy to invest in. The other thing is the launching of the central bank digital coin, which gives everyone visibility into what you're doing. While this whole fiasco is occurring, that's being pushed forward. So ultimately, you will own nothing and you will be happy is what's going to come out of this if we do not bring this under control.
Let's talk about that piece in a, just after we talk about these donors here. So this is just information. We're not weighing in on this, but you see George Soros with, $128 million. That's to the Democratic Party. You see these fellows here on the Republican Party, and then underneath that you see 39 million from Sam Bankman-Fried FTX in Washington D.C. So if anyone wants to dig into this, opensecrets.org covers this here. So
now I wonder, is that direct user funds that was donated, or was that a loan from a loan from a loan?
Unknown.
Where did the monies really come from?
Well, they're clearly saying Sam Bankman-Fried, so it could have gone from FTX to Sam, and then he sent it off to, if it's listed that way. Otherwise, it should say FTX on that list.
Yeah, I wonder though, because you hear about his Bahamas, $40 million Bahamas house that Sam owned. If you look into it, I read that was bought half with FTX stock and half with the FTT token. So it really wasn't any sort of money, whether it's the currency of the Bahamas or the currency of the US. It wasn't bought with money, it was bought with false stock. So how are these donations made? That's what I would love to know.
And I feel bad for the guy who sold him the house. Imagine, here's gold, and that's nothing. He just lost a house too. Like everyone's losing. Anyone who touched this man.
Yeah, even Greg said it could have been part of the $3 billion loan from Alameda as well.
I was just about to say that, so we can take a look at this. This is some of the excerpts from the bankruptcy filing. So here is one highlight here. So Sam Bankman-Fried got over $1 billion from Alameda, but it was spread all over FTX essentially, and his affiliated businesses. So related party loans receivable of $4.1 billion at Alameda Research consisted primarily of loan by I don't know what that is. Euclid Way to Paperbird, $2.3 billion, and 3 loans by Alameda Research, one to Mr. Bankman-Fried of $1 billion. This was just for personal use, and also Gary Singh of $500 million as well. So Gary Singh is the co-founder of FTX as well, and I think that we haven't talked enough about the other people that are affiliated with this. Obviously, Sam Bankman-Fried should be and is the spotlight here, but Gary Singh is also on the board of Sequoia, who was a major funder of FTX. So there's just so many degrees of separation. I'm sorry, the ecosystem, I should say, and the connections here are just go pretty wild. I mean, it webs everywhere, which
it's incestuous.
It really is. Yeah, absolutely.
Who's the guy that tweeted this in the first place? Who's the little Asian dude that called him out?
CZ.
I
love it.
He's from China, but he no longer lives in China.
Correct.
I don't care. I don't trust a single thing he does anymore. I think
I'm simply saying he's not simply Asian. He's specifically Chinese.
Well, Chinese. I'll call him Chinese from now on. Not American.
But in
you're not wrong for taking that stand, Don. I mean, he's doing his best right now to appear as the good guy and the savior and all that. And he is doing that as of right now. He is putting his money where his mouth is right now. He's walking that walk, but it could change like that. And people need to understand that.
I think if you have your private keys, you don't care.
This whole thing, yeah. And to answer, someone said, "Hey, what do I do to protect her? What's the best way to avoid this?" I said, "Look up the ledger. Pull it off the exchange, because then you don't really have to worry about it. You can just jump in and enjoy the conversation." But this whole thing, like, I wonder how long, because this scam could have gone on for a long time.
Yeah.
And so it kind of seemed like, so I was thinking, like, all right, so we keep the scam going. Why even kick it off in the first place? Because I don't think it was a lightning rod for legislation anymore. I think they're going to use it as that, just to kind of just point the conversation in that direction
And say they
not
did something. Yeah.
get the picket fences, or no, not the picket fences, the
Pitchforks.
torches. Yeah, pitchforks. Yeah.
Pitchfork.
But then the way he kicked it off with that tweet, it was too easy to kick that domino off. Like that now is just, that's firing off red flags for me. So
Well, if
believe
you
that guy
looked at the team here knows when I posted it, it was like minutes after CZ tweeted it. And here's what had transpired to trigger this. Even Sam Bankman-Fried was goading CZ, like, I wish you could be part of this whole legislation to Congress. Oh, that's right. You can't travel here. It's almost like you're not welcome, a persona non grata, into this whole process. And then, and you're right. Okay, what visibility did CZ have that everyone else didn't have, to the point that triggered him to be like, all right, dude, there's enough backstabbing and I'm getting rid of the FTT token. And what CZ was selling was not enough to really bring down, like it shouldn't have been. It literally opened up the can of worms to when you're looking now, everything, there's nothing in there. And it triggered this whole cascade, like you said, the domino effect. So yes, I think time will tell us how and when all this was triggered, and someone's winning on this event. Of course, the Bitcoin, they're trying to drag Bitcoin, like the general populace, the general political
News.
system, yeah, everyone else, they're trying to grab Bitcoin as part of the problem when Bitcoin has nothing to do with
Well,
this.
let's talk about that for a second. So, like, if you have a Federal Reserve and you're able just to print money nonstop just to fund any little thing you have, you're a kid in a candy store. Like, you ever played video games and you turn on like infinite money cheats and you could just go and buy whatever weapons and whatnot you want in like
Hell
Grand
yeah.
Theft Auto or
Up,
something?
up, down, down, left, right, BA, BA, select, because we're 2 players, start. Unlimited lives on contract.
Look, my girl knows. Okay, so it's that kind of style though, of like, okay, well, if I can just keep printing money just to fuel my agenda, however, and I know that it's an invisible tax that the general populace is just going to pay for, they're not really going to have a say in it. Their money is just going to be devalued, and they're going to have to deal with it. Then you can kind of do anything. You're unquestioned at that point. No, there's no accountability. And that's the problem. Like, we talk so much about accountability and transparency, because if you have transparency, people do hold you accountable, and you do have a reputation that you have to earn by merit. And that's a different thing from how, you know, the US government specifically, but not exclusively, is running. There's a lot of other governments that do some other stuff. Jaime can certainly tell you some stories about, you know, countries he's been in and out of, but you know, there's a bigger picture here, right? Like, the bigger picture is that Bitcoin has rules. You can't print infinite Bitcoin. It has 21 million. And so they found a way you can print infinite Bitcoin. And what you do is you get a centralized exchange where you don't actually have to have the money you say you have, and you can just give people magic internet money.
IOUs.
And there's no actual you know, private keys being held, but people who don't understand how this whole thing functions, they think it's fine because they look in their account and they're like, well, I see a comma, we're good, you know. And but they don't understand that, like, if they were to ask for that money right now, not in US dollars, but actually in Bitcoin to a Bitcoin wallet, they'd be like, here's your limit, you can only do this much. And they're like, what do you mean? I thought I had this much money and I could just take it. And they're like, oh, you thought that, didn't you? And so, like, that's kind of what we're running into. That's why centralized exchanges need to be treated cautiously, and only as a place for you to do trading with a small amount of your money. But this shouldn't be in lieu of you dollar cost averaging and holding your own private keys. Please listen to us. Do not get screwed over. None of this drama matters. If you hold your private keys, this doesn't even touch your skin. Like, it's often la la land.
And this is, someone asked me the other day, he said, Don, when will you start trading crypto? And my answer was when it makes sense to trade crypto. And right now, like, I wouldn't want to leave it on the exchange like this, because one, I would have to, for it to move the needle, I would need to leave an amount on the exchange that I do not want to lose overnight. So until things like this do get settled down, Maybe it is after regulation. But once it's not the wild, wild west, then maybe I'll consider it. But I traded Bitcoin a couple of times. After that, once I started looking into it, I got into it because it was the pump and dump. It was great. But then after looking into it is when I just started buying it. And then so not until all of this gets answered, because leaving it on the exchange, things like this can happen. Thankfully, it hasn't happened to Coinbase yet. So far, I haven't had haven't heard their name get thrown around in this debacle. I've heard everyone else though. Crypto.com, Binance, almost all the exchanges were tied to this, and are in some form.
Let me mention that, because I said the other day that I had a lingering balance on crypto.com that had not come, that I wasn't able to move. I actually was able to move that yesterday. So it was just $1,000 worth of Atom that I had bought and moved it yesterday, into my wallet as soon as I got the heads up. But somebody had asked, and I did this as well yesterday, looking for on and off ramps into the DeFi space or the Bitcoin space that you do not have to go through a centralized exchange. And it was my fault that I completely forgot about Kado money. That's Kado. Kado is simply an on and off ramp, and that is it. And I used that yesterday or day before flawlessly. I mean, with no time whatsoever. You can pick which fiat currency you want to use. There's a number of them, including the US dollar. There's a number of different protocols that you can immediately buy with whatever fiat currency you choose. Bitcoin's on there, and there's a couple other protocols. You put it in there, you link your bank account through Plaid, and then boom, you put your wallet on that you want it to go to, hit go, and that Bitcoin, I happen to buy Atom. That Atom was in my wallet like that. I mean, just like that. So you don't have to go trade for anything. You don't have to spend any time on a centralized exchange. And that's Kado money, and they're doing things very well. So if you just want to get money in and out, you don't care about trading, you don't care about any of that, just get it into the system. That's a good one to use for the US.
Kado.
Kado.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. So that's the other thing. I wanted to bring this up where they were mentioning trade their futures instead. That's the problem with exchanges, is that the futures are contracts. So let's say you come in there, it's not the actual asset itself. You're actually buying paper and trading paper. The big question is going to be like, okay, now you made a beautiful play. This is assuming they're not watching your position like FTX was, and then liquidating you and taking the value you had brought into the exchange. That's another allegation that's going on. And BitMEX and a few others have that taint on them. Anyone that was dealing with futures.
Pause.
Lols. Continue. Sorry.
So that's the problem, and the risk you're taking by trading the futures is that you're on contracts. But now, let's say you miraculously made 10 Bitcoin, just an example. Try to get that off the exchange. If you look at it, when they uncovered the lid on FTX, they only had like TAMP had more Bitcoin than FTX did.
Has
past
tense and future tense and present
absolutely
tense.
So the big question is, are you going to be able to get your Bitcoin out of there, because they don't have that much Bitcoin?
Exactly.
So that's the big question and the risk when you're trading futures.
Yeah. So hold your keys. Get your
That's right.
keys off the exchange. Hold your crypto.
Yes. That's
Not
Actually-
the
private keys. Don't cry to us.
Yeah, and I'm seeing some reports that cold storage wallets are actually sales are up 300% since all
Yes.
this.
Great.
record.
That's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Lord above. That's
Yeah.
great.
That's
Absolutely.
phenomenal.
Absolutely. So we're actually going to try to figure out how we can. We're going to do some affiliate links if you guys want to support us. We're trying to figure that out. If you guys haven't ordered a cold storage wallet yet, then we're gonna be able to provide those resources for you as well.
Yes.
So moving on, we're going to continue this Sam Bankman-Fried FTX debacle. We've talked about it for most of the show, but I didn't want us to leave today without talking about the craziness that's also going on over at Twitter. It's not necessarily crypto related, but it is connected, because
Yes.
Elon Musk is planning on providing transactions through Doge, allegedly. I don't know if that'll actually go through. I think that some sort of cryptocurrency makes sense especially just because of Elon's own adoption into this space. So that is one thing. But I just wanted to kind of get your guys' thoughts on this whole Twitter debacle. So Elon is now sleeping at the headquarters, has already talked about potentially a replacement CEO for Tesla. And everybody's absolutely losing their mind. I wanted to turn your direction here real quick to what AOC actually said. So I know that we've been picking on Democrats a lot today, but it's just been really easy. AOC says, shout out to all the workers at Twitter. You built a vital place for connection and deserve so much better. Millions of people appreciate the space you built and the hard work that went into it. Thank you. And then Elon Musk replies, you're welcome.
Exactly.
What can I say except you're welcome?
So, which is just, I mean, Elon is the king of the trolls. The guy is,
He's amazing.
It's absolutely amazing. But you know what the thing is too? Record DAUs have come to Twitter now, day after day. It seems as if now, and Elon has talked about this that usage from unique viewers has gone up significantly since Elon's taken it over. And I think that
noticed.
I think that this has a lot to do with, this is decentralized TV, right? And we talk about how, we want not just crypto, not just our financial lives to be decentralized, but kind of the way that we communicate and talk and are able to speak freely. And Elon recognized that, and that's why he ended up taking over Twitter in the first place. So you have to wonder if that way of life, that level of thinking has really brought a lot more attention, and more people are adopting that way of thinking because of some of the cancel culture and censoring that we've seen. This isn't a left or right thing either, by the way. This is just freedom of speech and being able to say what you feel. And obviously Elon Musk has also said, like, you can't just go say that I'm going to kill somebody or shoot up a school. So, but and I know that Brandon, you're very passionate about this as well, but giving everybody an actual town square and what have you, I think is just super important. I think it just kind of feeds into our whole brand and our whole way of thinking as far as decentralized is concerned.
Yep, completely. And this comes down to all people have a right to life, liberty, and property. You don't have the right to infringe on other people's life, liberty, or property with your pursuit of it. But like, that's the foundation for civil society, right? And so this honestly is a question of like, okay, well, can the government infringe on your life, liberty, or property? And if the government can, then you're not running under a constitutional republic, right? And so I think there's a lot of ways that technologists and business people are realizing, especially with how we swung so far the other way the last few years, of having liberties taken from us and not honored. Like, people are starting to realize, wow, we really should probably invest in the idea of people having autonomy. And, the reason you can't say credible threats on like Twitter or whatever, because that's menacing. You're infringing on someone's life or their liberty or their property, because you're saying, I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to hurt the things you have. I'm going to hurt the people you care about. That's not legal. That's called menacing.
Absolutely. And remember, if we can get Twitter to be a true town square respecting life, property, and liberty, that's where this whole FTX debacle that's going on at this very moment is, you can actually see that they are all the news, like the transparent news, are being posted in Twitter on both sides of the aisle and all sides of the aisle in life. Yet you go to traditional media and it's all whitewashed.
Yes.
It's not truly the truth, or like a balance, meaning
it's a narrative. Yeah.
It's a narrative. You can see and feel the narrative as it comes out from traditional. So that's the importance of Twitter, is everybody gets to, if they have evidence, or even if they have theories or tinfoil or whatever it is, you have the opportunity to present it for the entire world to see and validate and do their own research. So that's why Twitter is booming, is because now someone came in there and like, all right, dude, get rid of all these muzzles, because they were muzzling part of the community
Mhm.
from speaking, and now everybody gets to talk. And if this were bad, then you would see Twitter going down. But no, like you highlighted.
It's trying to target us right now with the doors being shut, no badge access,
Mhm.
and everybody left. All the
Correct.
employees left. He's got, I think I saw something about 20 emergency engineers are coming in because the whole payroll system left.
Is it really
so-
emergency though? Like how many people are dying to get in there and work there now?
Well,
You know,
that was my
that's the
reply. It's
thing.
like I'm sure
Yeah.
someone will come in, but yeah, right now he had to shut the doors and shut it all down because he was worried about sabotage stuff like that. So yeah,
Absolutely. I mean,
everyone rolled
I don't know
out.
why everybody's so damn surprised at this. Like you even look in the athletics world, if a head coach gets fired, whether it's collegiate or NFL, usually the entire coaching staff typically goes with them when they get fired. Aside of maybe one or two, like, you know, really young, bright coaches that you want to keep on the roster. Maybe they're good at recruiting, something like that. But when you have a change at the helm, you should expect the majority of the people, you know, to leave as well, whether it's on their own accord, which it mostly is because there's going to be a mindset shift there, you know, or whatever the reason. It's time to bring in a new crew. Like that's part of this. So I don't understand why everybody's all up in arms about this. I mean, if you don't want to be there because Elon's at the helm, then get out.
Peace
I mean,
out.
this was cool. I saw
Ligma
this.
Johnson.
That was funny.
You know what's-
Ladies,
So
You know
please
what's nuts?
expand on this because I don't think everyone's aware of what these two guys brilliantly pulled off.
So this story also continues, by the way. So Elon Musk, you know, when he came into Twitter, brought the sink with him to headquarters. These two guys were impersonating employees of Twitter and kind of like making fun of you know, the kind of the culture there a little bit, and it was actually interviewed by legitimate mainstream media platforms such as CNBC. One of them actually tweeted out that these two guys, Ligma and Johnson, were actual employees of Twitter, even though they weren't. Obviously, we know Ligma
Brilliant.
Johnson is the play on words. So Elon actually brought them back here as just a joke, and then ended up kind of like sarcastically saying, "Important to admit when I'm wrong, and firing them was truly one of my biggest mistakes." You know what's even more hilarious is that there were still media outlets taking this seriously, that they
Yes.
thought that these two, and they were actually reporting that you know, Elon, you know, bringing employees back, haha, blah 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 blah. He realized he messed up, and it's like, this is
joke's
still,
on you, pal.
still a fucking
Yeah.
joke. How are you still falling for this shit? Like that's
Because people think they're too damn important. Like when you cannot laugh at yourself or someone else, like you're the problem. Sorry,
Yeah.
like you're the issue.
Well-
Yeah, you suck. I mean, in general, when you can't laugh with people anymore.
Yeah,
It's not just a
and you're
laughing thing. It's the fact that they literally don't understand sarcasm. They don't understand jokes because they're so concerned with being politically correct that they don't understand humor anymore. Like
Yeah.
they don't get jokes. It doesn't occur to them. They lack the faculties for it.
right.
And it
Yep.
shows lack of due diligence. Like if these fools are telling you and believing it, Jesus, what else are they believing than
Yeah.
feeding to me?
I
You
know.
Twitter, yeah. If you want to be a reporter, go on Twitter, click on a link, and then just say, "Hey, this thing," and your take.
Hey, did
on
you
it,
know
and
there's
you're
a human
reporter.
meat project out there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or take a troll like this one, the new CEO of FTX, seeing the SBF use emojis to approve expense reports.
and it must
I
be cold.
guarantee
You
you
can see his
people must
nipples through the
think-
shirt.
Yeah, and everyone
cold.
knows who this guy is.
Yeah, right.
Should know, but in the end, who knows? There may be someone that'll say, "Oh, that's the guy having to clean up the mess," and not realizing it's a famous actor. You know.
It wouldn't
Too bad it's
surprise
not
me.
Matt Damon.
It wouldn't surprise me. Guys, that's going to do it for today's show. Thanks so much for tuning in. We certainly appreciate it. Make sure you hit the subscribe button wherever you're watching. And then also, if you're watching on DC TV, there is a link in the description there for our Discord. It's a great community to be a part of if you want to continue the conversation there and keep sharing all the crazy shit that's been happening between FTX and everything else. But before we let you go, I just want to make sure that we're covering our birthdays. We got Owen Wilson, who's 53 today.
Wow.
Wow. Owen Wilson. Wow.
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 Kirk Hammett of Metallica is 59.
All right.
Yeah. David Ortiz is 46, and Nick Bateman is 35. And then lastly, we have Angelina Armani, who is the star of Deep Throat This 53. what began as a relaxing drink, a girl, a boy, and a toy, hand job winner, and hitchhikers. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. We certainly appreciate it. We'll see you guys on Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern time, and maybe even before then if any more crazy shit happens. So thanks so much for tuning in, and keep calm and hodl on, baby.
No doubt. Have a great
Take care.
weekend.
Have a great
Have a good one.
weekend.